Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I just want to commend the member for Colton for moving this motion and wholeheartedly offer my support to that motion. He, of course, knows better than anyone in this room the importance of representing your country and state with dignity, and we were certainly lucky to have a wonderful group of athletes at the most recent Commonwealth Games who did just that. I just want to rise quickly, Mr Speaker, to acknowledge a couple of athletes with connections to the electorate of Narungga who participated in the recent Commonwealth Games. I personally took great pleasure in watching the Commonwealth Games and thought it was a well-televised event, and want to congratulate the organisers for combining the able-bodied athletes with the para-sports athletes. I thought it made for improved viewing and certainly increased recognition of those involved in the para-sport, and hopefully it continues in that vein going forward at all the other meets around the world. I want to particularly acknowledge basketballer Steph Talbot and her contribution to the all-conquering women's basketball team. Pardon? Well, more importantly, the Norwood member for Davenport. She's from Kadina. Two basketball teams in Kadina, Mr Speaker, the Kadina Basketball Club and the Bears basketball team. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Steph grew up playing for the wrong one of those two with Bears, and I vividly recall watching her progress through the ranks and dominating all in front of her. But it was pleasing to see her take the court at the Commonwealth Games and play a significant role in that team's gold medal winning campaign. Steph's the daughter of the Deputy Mayor of the Copper Coast Council and a former football coach of mine, Ros and Trevor Talbot. So I would like to acknowledge their contribution toward her ascension to such high achievements on the sporting field. Trevor actually, as a bit of a sidebar, coached the basketball team that defeated me in the most recent York Valley Basketball Association Grand Final. So I have a bit of a grudge to bear against Trevor, but congratulate him on his daughter's achievements nonetheless. I did have the pleasure of covering Steph in her trials as a basketballer in a time at a team in Poland whose name I will not endeavour to pronounce, and more recently at the Phoenix Mercury under Australian coach Sandy Borrello, where she played a significant role in their run to the finals in that competition. Thankfully, she did one better at the Commonwealth Games and won the gold medal, but she has played in a couple of high-level basketball competitions recently. I also want to briefly acknowledge long jumper Henry Frayne. Henry finished second with a jump of 8.33 metres in what was a tremendous effort at the most recent Commonwealth Games. Henry is the son of a well-respected former local dentist in Kadina, Jeff Frayne, and his results are still well followed amongst the community and often feature in the pages of the York Peninsula Country Times. So just in concluding, Mr Speaker, I only want to speak briefly. Congratulations to all athletes, particularly the South Australian ones, on an excellent show. I very much enjoyed watching it. It was a great event, and we were well represented by the wonderful athletes, staff and officials that accompanied them. Thank you.
The member for Hammond.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I rise too to support the motion, this excellent motion by the member for Colton on the fantastic exhibition of the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games, and certainly acknowledging the excellent efforts